Hello, welcome back to my channel. My name is Emily and this is the Astral Library. Today I have for you another reading vlog. But since, past Emily didn't record a proper introduction for you, I thought let's go ahead and film one now. So we are going to be reading the first pick for the 24 for 2024 challenge. And in it, I've decided that I'm going to pick these books at random. So I have, actually, let me go get it and then I'll show you. All right, so I have this handy dandy jar that I got from Owl Crate one year, and this whole jar is filled with my popsicle sticks from my normal TBR jar, filled with all the books from the 24 for 2024 challenge. So I've decided that instead of just picking a book from it, every now and then I'm going to just pick one at random, and I'll do that by simply just sticking my finger in here and drawing one. I think the first clip, I'm going to be drawing the book I'm going to be reading, which if you've seen the title, you probably have an idea of what it is. But if not, I'm not going to spoil it here. So let's go ahead and jump straight into this reading vlog, and I hope you enjoy. So it is Sunday, the 7th of January, and I've not read a damn thing in the start of 2024. So I figured today's the day we're gonna break that. And we're gonna start, as you can tell, by reading one of my 24 for 2024. I have a handy dandy jar right here, filled with all those books, and I'm going to pick one of these to start with. So let's see if the jar is nice to me and gives me a book that I feel like I'm gonna enjoy reading. I'm not gonna look. I'm gonna really give this a good swirl, and okay, I've got one. I'll show it to you. Then, okay, so we're gonna be starting with Blood and Starlight by Laini Taylor. So this one's pretty thick, so it's a chunky boy, and it is the sequel in a series. I'm gonna have to go back and take a look at the first one just to remind myself what happened in it, because it's been at least it's been like 5 years since I last read. I'm gonna look up a summary online, and then I will catch you as I read some of this book. Okay, it's gonna be fine. I'm excited to get through this, to get a sequel done. It's not the worst thing I could have drawn from that cup, that's for sure. I'll catch you in a bit. All right, if you see dog fur on my pants, no you don't. So I finished looking up the summary for Daughters Bokobone, and I just have to say, so much happened in that book. I don't remember nearly most of it. I remember the key highlight moments, and I remember not loving the relationship between the two main characters. In that I just felt like it was a little too insta-lovey for me, but I'm curious to see if that changes in the second book, because there's a lot of interesting things about the world and the plot and the magic that had me more interested than the romance did. So I'm curious to see, one, just how long it's gonna take me to find my footing going to this book, since it's been so long since I've read the first book. And as much as I'm usually a person who will go back and reread the first book, I don't want to do that. I want to just continue on, because I feel like if I read the first book, it's going to take me that much longer to get to this book. I'm going to hope that the summary was enough and I could just dive straight into this one. I'm going to try that. I'm going to throw something up on the TV, maybe some music, maybe some booktube, I don't know. And I'm going to read for, I think, an hour or so, maybe a half hour, because I do have to do some editing today. And I might call my mom and see what she's up to. Maybe we'll go see a movie or something. I'm gonna attempt to start this book, and maybe it'll suck me in, and then I won't get to editing, which will be very bad for me. I don't think that's gonna be the case. I think I'm gonna be smart, because I do start school next week. So I'll catch you on an update to say something about Days of Blood and Starlight. All right, hello. It is Monday the 8th. I didn't get a lot of reading done yesterday. I got to page 33. I'm on chapter 9. So I didn't get far at all. Mainly because I just had a lot to do and I just wasn't in the mood to like sit down and read. Even though I've really enjoyed the start of this book, it's been a little complicated like getting back into the world and trying to remember who all the characters are and kind of what's going on. But because of how this book starts and we're starting with this mystery where the characters also don't know what's going on, that's made it a little easier. Like I said, the only thing that's like making this difficult is the fact that it's been so long since I've read the first book. Generally, I'm doing okay. I'm enjoying it. I think it's been funny. I've laughed in moments. I've been really intrigued by everything that's been presented and all the ideas and possibilities have been really fun. And I have like so much more of this book to get through. So I don't have much going on for the rest of my day. I already went grocery shopping. I put everything away. I've picked up the house. So really, I only need to read. I have tutoring at 5:30. Other than that, I think I'm golden for the rest of the day, and it's about 1 o'clock. So I might read for a couple hours. In fact, I might actually set a timer and read for 2 hours, and then relax for a little bit, and then I'll tutor, and then I'll prepare for school tomorrow. I think I'm good to go. Yeah, I think I have everything squared away. So I think I'm just gonna enjoy this book and try to get a little further and hopefully make a bigger dent in this. So I will catch you in another update. Hello. I am catching up with you after those 2 hours. I made a decent chunk of progress. I'm on page 108. So we're at about like 70-ish pages, which is very slow going for me, but I'm taking this rather slow because I'm trying to figure out all the pieces moving on because Laini Taylor's writing and her worlds are really complex, and this story is no exception, where we have quite a lot going on. So we finally got confirmation like what is Kaoru up to, what's going on, what has she been up to, because when we start this book we think she's dead. At least one of the characters thinks she's dead, and of course that's not true. She's been working on rebuilding the rebellion. There's just a lot going on. We have to not only figure out what has happened in the past as well as what's happening in the current present timeline. And Kaoru is just right smack dab in the middle of it. She's trying to not only figure out, okay, where does she like place in this war between the Chimera and the Angels? Because her past self tried to rebel against her people, the Chimeras, because she fell in love with an angel. But she's coming to terms with the realization that even though she fell in love with the angel and had this like grandiose idea of like how to change the world and to stop this slaughter, that's not the world she lives in. In fact, there was a great chapter in here called Paradise that was talking about how her and her lover Akiva had like dreamed of this like world where no one was suffering and we can end the bloodshed. And it ended tragically where Akiva ended up being a huge proponent in the continuation of the slaughter of her people after her execution. She's coming to the realization that world was always naive, that she thought she could do that change, at least at that point in time. And so now she's kind of found herself way back onto another side of the conflict where she is now rebuilding members of the Chimera army to continue the slaughter, or to rather restart the slaughter, because it's been a few years since the war, or rather I think it's been a few centuries. I'm having a bit of a hard time trying to figure out how much time has passed between these things. It seems like a lot of time has passed, but then we get like whenever we get mentions of moments of time, it doesn't quite line up. So I'm a little confused on that point, but I'm still very interested, especially because we have Kaoru trying to figure out what the fuck's going on. Where is she gonna kind of cement her position? Because she's no longer her past self. She's not magical anymore. She is Kaoru. She wants to like make amends for the death of Brimstone, her like father figure for this life. And she's essentially taken up his role by being the like constructor of the army, using like teeth to rebuild the army, which is what he used to do. And now she's doing it, but she's hating every moment, and she's still scorned because of her relationship with Akiva, or her past relationship, because they are not together at this point in the book. It's confusing if you don't pay attention, which I'm really trying to make sure that I am paying attention, which is why it's going a lot slower. I think also because I've been just trying to figure out where my footing is. Again, coming so late into this book after the first one. But I do think things are going to start picking up now. I think I'm just about where the story is going to start to kick off, because we do have enough soldiers now that they're going out and creating havoc, and we have Akiva who is having to respond to those attackings. So things are moving forward, and I think they're about to take off, especially since we've gotten past, the typical build-up 100 pages of fantasy books. So I'm excited to see where this goes. I don't know if I'm gonna read more tonight. I have like a couple hours before tutoring, and so I'm going to watch some YouTube, I think, and then I might pick this up later in the evening as I make dinner or after dinner. But I also have to repaint my nails so they look nice for when I have to teach tomorrow. We'll see if I get any further, but I will update you next time I have something to say or next time I have some reading to do. Ready? Are you ready? Ready? Go get it. Go get it. Hello. It is Tuesday the 9th. I just got back from teaching, so you think I'd be more, put together mentally after that, but no, I'm very much not. Anyways, I just got home, and I'm taking you with me because I'm starving. And I figured I'd update you as I'm getting food. I got to a page 100 and something. I didn't quite read last night, but I did in fact read some, hold on, doing this one-handed sucks. So I didn't read last night, but I did read a little bit today during my office hours because no one comes to office hours the first day of class during the week. Go figure. Sorry, I can't think and do two things at once. All right, let's park it and talk, shall we? When I did leave off last night, I left myself at a purposeful cliffhanger where we have Kaoru who's sitting down to eat at the mess hall with everyone, and it ends where someone walks in and then they look like they're gonna be mad at her. And I purposely left it there because I knew it would make me excited to want to pick up the book. Not that I'm having a hard time motivating myself to read this book, but just reading in general. I'm still very much in vacation mode where I don't want to do anything that I have to do. Reading sometimes gets lumped in that. But I was excited to pick it up today, and I am really enjoying where we're going in the story because we are with Kaoru as she's feeling very isolated from everyone and having to figure out what's going on. Why is she feeling isolated? Why can't she connect? And why is she forcing herself into this position? It's very, very interesting. And especially since we're learning that, so we met this character, the White Wolf, who's a commander in the Chimera army and who executed her in her past life. And he's very sweet to her. And at first you're kind of something's up with him because she's very wary of him. But then he's being really sweet and you're kind of okay, maybe? But then we got another perspective where literally the dude admits that oh yeah, we're told to stay away from her and isolate her. So Mr. White Wolf dude, not a great guy. Go figure. Commander of the army, bloodthirsty. He's not a great guy. Whatever. But yeah, I didn't get a ton of reading done during my office hours just because all my friends are also on campus and they decided, let's come and say hi to Emily and talk to her. I was like, damn it. The one time I was expecting to read. But that was a ding for my food. I'm gonna eat and then I'm going to change out of my teacher clothes because I don't want to be in these clothes. As cute as I look, I'd rather be more comfortable. So I'm gonna go do that, and then I think I'm going to read for maybe an hour or so, and I'll catch you when I have another update. Hello, we're in my kitchen, and I'm testing out a new mic because I'm doing a bit of a vlog, a go shopping with me vlog on Saturday. So I bought a wireless mic to kind of help ease that. So if there's a dip in audio quality or just a change in audio quality, that's gonna be crucial to know, and I apologize for it. If it's shitty, I won't do that. But hopefully it's okay, it's bearable. But we are in my kitchen because once again, I am hungry and I would like some dinner. So I'm going to be making some pizza rolls because actually cooking sounds horrendous. And I can stick this in an air fryer and be done. So my plans for tonight, it's about 7 o'clock. So I'm done with work. I have no homework tomorrow, thank God, for starting week. So I'm going to just chill and read more of this. I got to page 158 when I last read. I didn't quite get to finish a chapter. I think I was just there too. Not much has happened other than we learned that Akiva and his siblings are on patrol and they're supposed to hunt down the freed slaves and essentially trying to undo all the work that Kaoru and the chimeras are doing with their guerrilla attacks. And so he's trying to undo it all. And then we were following this one scene where we had one of the members of these groups of slaves that had escaped and were hiding out. And Akiva and his brother came across them. And instead of, slaughtering them like they were supposed to, they said, oh, I thought we heard a scream. It must have just been a bird. La-di-da-di-da. And turned away. Good on him. Versus we have Mr. Wolfman being an absolute predator and a dick, 99% of the time. We just got rid of her crossbar she had in front of her door that made her feel safe. Took that away. So now she's feeling exposed and Kaoru was just I hate my life. To which, fair, it's a shitty life. I'm interested in seeing where this is going. This is still pretty slow moving, but now that we're getting into the second part, I think it's going to pick up. I'm crossing my fingers that it picks up. I'm not hating it. I just wish it was a little faster, especially this being my first real book of 2024. for it to be a book that's like kind of at a slower pace is not the best time. But here's to hoping it gets faster, because I'm almost to the halfway point. I think this book's something like 400 something pages. Oh damn, nope, it's 500 pages. Goodreads lied to me. I'm about 100 pages away from halfway. I will catch you after I do some reading, but I'm going to cook. So I will see you then. Hello. It is 9:20, so it's been a few hours since I last saw you, and I had made quite a bit of headway in Days of Blood and Starlight. I am now at the halfway mark, just before the halfway mark, and I have to say, the first book in this is very deceiving because the first book reads very much like a YA book. This doesn't read like YA, or rather, not the same YA that was present in the first book. Like, yeah, there's these moments that are kind of like little silly, little funny, but there's some real depth in this book where we're having a real look at like what war is from both sides, from the side of the conqueror and the oppressed. Just how bloody and horrific it is for both sides, even especially those who like don't want to do it. We see a lot of evil on both sides, but we also see our characters struggling with the morality of it. People who don't want to fight for the quote unquote winning side, or people who want to fight for the oppressed side, but also want to do it right and not just inflict the same pain that's been inflicted on them. It's been really, really interesting. And it's slow going at times. And I normally would be a lot further in a book, I think, for as much time as I spent with it. But I also am not regretting how slow it's going because we're dealing with such complexity in this issues and this world. I'm really enjoying it. I sat here for the last hour and a half or so, really just reading and getting to know more and more about this world and about this conflict, and just not knowing what's going to happen. What is the actual solution to this? We haven't come to that point. And so I think I read through a whole nother part. So I think I'm on part 3 now. And yeah. No, I'm really enjoying this. I will probably bring this with me to school tomorrow just because I have some time to kill before my class and I don't have work to do necessarily. And yeah, I'll see how far I can get in. So I probably won't update you until I get home. So that'll probably be around 3-ish, maybe 3:30, depending on what I do when I get home. But I'm hoping to read another at least 50 pages tomorrow. We'll see if that actually happens. But I'm on relatively good track. If I'm almost halfway and it's only Tuesday, I think I should be good. I want to try to get this done by Friday because I'm getting a tattoo on Friday. Or possible multiple tattoos. And so I won't be able to read as I'm doing that just because of where I'm getting them done. But I also know I'm not going to have any time to read on Saturday or Sunday. So I'd like to have this done before then and really spend probably Sunday morning editing this video as well as Monday day. Goal is to finish this by Friday. I think I can do it. I will finish this book. I promise. But I will see you guys in the next clip. I'm going to take a shower and go to bed. Hello, we're still testing out this mic, so hopefully it's not garbage. And if it is, again, this is the last time you'll hear it. It's Friday about 11:17, so about 11:20, let's say. So I think the last time I actually updated you guys was Wednesday, maybe for a brief update. if that. It's been a minute. And that's because my Wednesday and Thursday were just so busy. And I actually didn't get a lot of reading done. I am this far in, so I'm over the halfway point, which means I'm at page 323. So I didn't read much at all. That's not because I'm like not interested in it, haven't wanted to pick up the book. It's purely the fact that I haven't had time to pick up the book, or every time I do pick up the book, something interrupts me and I can't get to it. Or like I literally get home, my eyes are like burning and I'm like, I can't do it. That was me last night. I literally got home, I was like, I should read. And then I like thought about how much my eyes were hurting as I was driving home. I was like, but what if I play The Sims instead? And so that's what I did. I played The Sims. So I haven't got much reading done, and it's Friday, and I wanted to be done by today. And we'll see if I can do that. I have work from 3 to 5. So I'm going to try to knock out as much of this book before that as I can. We will see how successful I am. I don't think it will be hard because it is really interesting what's going on. I can't even think of the last time I updated you on like what was happening in this book. Long story short, we have Ziri coming back injured and almost dying, and she heals him, and then Susanna and her boyfriend show up. Everyone's here now. Yeah, there's just been a lot that's going on in this book. Things are picking up and things are interesting because we have a lot of moving pieces. And I do just definitely stick by my point how this is a very sneaky YA book. It feels more older YA, older age group YA, or more new adult, because it's very complex and stuff that I don't normally see in the typical YA genre. And the characters aren't super YA, if you understand kind of what that means. Like, yeah, she's a teenager. I think she's not even 18, but she doesn't read like that. One of the major complaints I had of the first book was the romance. I think I have a review somewhere on Goodreads. I was like, the romance is the worst thing about this book. It's boring, it's not intriguing, it was very insta-lovey, and everything else in comparison was so complex and so wonderfully built out that the romance fell flat. The romance of this one is so much better, and it makes their relationship so much more intriguing because it's not so cut and dry. Because Akiva and Kaoru are on opposite sides of the war and both have done tremendously horrific things towards the other side. It's given the relationship this huge like complication because they're still drawn to each other and they still really love each other. But how do they reconcile that? How do they reconcile what Akiva did to her? How does Akiva reconcile what Kaoru is doing currently? It's all very interesting, and it makes their relationship so much better than what it was in the first book. So I'm very happy about that because romance is always a great thing to read, and I love when it's done well. And I feel like this is a series that is doing it well in a way that you wouldn't normally expect. Normally we're like building the relationship start to finish, but this is like we are seeing a lot of the ups and downs that come with relationships and the complications of how do you get over that and how do you fight for the relationship and the love that you have. It's not going to be easy. It's not going to be cut and dry. You're going to have to forgive. You're going to have to learn what you can move past and what you can't. And so I'm very excited to continue on seeing what's happening especially because at the point where I'm at in the book, they have just like started to talk again, and like they just ran into each other. Things are getting more complicated, things are getting more interesting, and I'm very, very excited to continue. So I'm going to sit down and read, I think for maybe another hour or so, maybe 2. I do need to eat because my stomach has been growling at me all morning. I'm gonna do that, and then I will catch you in the next update. So I have a slight confession to make. It's been a minute since I actually did finish Days of Blood and Starlight. And that's just because, not because I wasn't interested or anything. I finished this book and then I immediately had to go do things. I believe when I finished this book, it was like 2:20ish and I had work at 3. Or no, it might have been later than that. I had to like immediately get on my computer and start getting prepped for my tutoring session. And then when the tutoring session was done, I had to shove food down my throat. And you can probably see from my finger here and maybe from this hand. Then I had to go to a tattoo appointment. So there's been no time to talk about this book since I finished it. So before we end this video, I definitely want to give you my final thoughts on what did I think of Days in Blood and Starlight. I have to say, I was pleasantly surprised by this book because getting back into the series after 5 years and not going back to reread the first book, I thought was going to be a major mistake. And I'm sure as you kind of saw in the earlier clips, I was very confused going back into the series, especially in the middle of everything that was going on and trying to remember all the characters, trying to remember the world and the magic. It was a lot, to say the least. And it's a slow book. It's a very slow moving book, but I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. Because it was so slow, I feel like I really had the time to understand and relearn the characters. It helped that our main character, Kaoru, is also trying to relearn who she was and who this world was and what was her place in it. And that really, really helped me. And like, I could find my footing and also go along that journey with her. And even when we understood the world and the major players at hand and kind of what's going on, the slowness wasn't because of like a lack of action going on or a lack of interest, but because there's a lot of complications in what's going on. I think at one point I said that this book was really interesting because the first book almost reads like a red herring. It reads like a typical YA with very YA problems and like viewpoints, but this book doesn't. This book gets a lot more complex in the world, in these stakes at hand, and just relationship, which I thought was the most boring part of the first book. But in this book, it's so interesting because we have these characters who are really on the opposite sides of the war and who have done things and are currently doing things that would hurt the other side and what they stand for. And how do you reconcile that? And our characters haven't found that question. It's a very mature view of a relationship and love that it's not going to be easy and it's going to be very, very hard. You're gonna have to learn things that you're willing to forgive and things you're not willing to. And our characters are steadily going on that journey of trying to figure out what can we forgive, what can't we forgive, and how do we reconcile the fact that we still love them despite all of that. I'm very intrigued of the third and final book in this series. And I do think I'm gonna be picking up relatively soon because I just wanna finish the series, not only to say that I did it and it's done, but also I'm really curious to see how everything's going to... The build in this book was insane. And even though we didn't get a huge payoff, I would say, like you're expecting, things are still very much moving forward. And that build up and that payoff is coming. And I think it's gonna come real soon. And I think it's gonna be great. So I'm very intrigued and I really, really enjoy this. I think if I have to give this a rating, I think I would definitely say about 4 stars because yes, it is slow and I'm still a bit confused on like the time between like our main character's past life and her current life and like what is the timeline essentially of everything that has happened. And like I had a hard time trying to figure that out. And I don't know if it's because I just didn't go back and reread the first book and it was maybe more established there, but I still thoroughly enjoyed myself and I'm very much looking to the conclusion of this series. That's all I have for you guys today. I hope you enjoyed this reading vlog and that you enjoyed me reading my very first book for 2024. I had so much fun reading this, more than I thought I was going to. When I pulled this book, I was a little wary because it's been so long since I started the series, but even so, I still really enjoyed myself and it's a great way to start the year. If you like this video, please consider leaving a thumbs up and a comment down below. Let me know what was your first book of the year, or what is a series you've been putting off for a long time. You've seen me conquer mine. Which ones do you have on the back burner? If you want to see more content from me or content like this, please consider subscribing. It helps the channel out and lets me know what you want to see and what I should be recording. That's it for me. I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!